welcome to the market is open. I wanted to go through, so
Josh.
I made it. Oh, thank you. So I made a video on Steve Eisman, and I thought he was interesting. And we had some comments from the video. And if you haven't liked it, you can see we liked it. But we had some comments on the video, and we're, first of all, to explain, we're two different channels, but our business is completely shared between me and Andrew. So he has different ideas than me, but I benefit from his Tesla channel. He benefits if my videos do well. So we're not competing against each other. But our views on Tesla are not exactly the same, though we both like it. And I feel like you have to pay homage to Elon Musk every time you mention him. You have to bow to him or something like that, or else people get upset with you. So I bowed to him with all the comments, but people were obviously not liking it. And I don't know why. So I said the stock was worth, let's say, 750 in my analysis. And there were a few critiques that were valid. So we kind of want to go through some of the comments, but I did bow to him. I'm like, GM sucks. I'm like, Tesla's an excellent company. I would never short Tesla. And I seem to have gotten a lot of negative criticism, but maybe not that much because there's only 30 dislikes. But I feel like I paid enough homage to Elon Musk for people not to hate me. And I just wanted to go through some of the comments from some of the Tesla supporters, and then we could go through with it and see if their critiques are valid of that. So does that seem like a good idea? Okay. So the first one is, I'd be shocked if EVs didn't represent 70% of sales of auto sales in 2030. So my analysis from BNEF, it's like Bloomberg, I think, does it, and they say it will be 24%. Now they seem to say 28%. But the thing is, their 28% number in the 24% doesn't seem to include hybrids. And this new 28% number I see on their website seems to include hybrids. So it seems like they're still estimating probably 24% by 2030, maybe 28%. But the reason why I think this poster is incorrect about 70% is just because you can't just get to 70%. It's not some magical thing that you get to 70%. I estimated Tesla would need to spend $100 billion to get to 10 million sales, and that would just be 10% of the market. So if Tesla, if the auto market if EVs were 70% of sales, I guess it would just imply, I can't see Tesla getting above 10 million, but it would just imply that every automaker got up and sold 60 million cars, because I can't see Tesla ever going above 10 million. So it's possible if everyone invests $100 billion, we can get to 70%, but I just don't see that, I guess. But it's possible, but I guess, yeah, I guess what I'm implying is you have to understand it takes a lot of investment, and people don't just do investment unless they know there's going to be demand.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would come from all the car companies, right, to 2030. And then you have some countries that are banning EVs. So if you're not allowed to, banning gas cars. So if you're not allowed to produce a gas car, then you have to produce an EV. Maybe, the entire market could be lower for EVs, but you're closer to 100%. You could be at 70% in a smaller market or something like that. And the problem is that it's 10 years away. So a lot of different things could change. What happens if ride sharing becomes even 10 times bigger than it currently is, and you actually don't need that many cars on the road? What happens if another car maker comes and starts producing a lot of vehicles like Volkswagen or something like that?
Do you agree? 70% seems too high.
It's not. It could be for the entire market, because you don't know what the big car players are going to do. So I think it could be.
It could be.
It'd be very difficult. It'd be very difficult to get there, but that's the goal. It's the goal for everybody, but I don't know if it'll actually get there.
Yeah, I don't think it will get there, but if it does, that would be great. Okay. So the next comment, I'd agree Tesla is overvalued, but it's more than just cars. So I didn't go too in depth on the energy company, but I did see the megawatt is growing greatly in the energy division.
Megapack, yeah.
So they definitely are deploying more megawatts, which is nice. But sort of when I thought about it afterwards, as people said, it's more than just cars. It's so they're more than just cars because of autonomous. So I answered that sort of in a way that, we gave them premium pricing for Tesla cars. So I feel like I've sort of answered the autonomous question well, and I feel like I have an optimistic assessment. But then when it comes, I baked it in, and that was because I talked to you, and we sort of tried to bake it in together. But then if they're more than it because of the energy division, so I just wonder how much could that energy division be worth? If it made 1.5 billion of revenue, and I think Plug is valued at 12 times current revenue, and it's been growing quicker than that division. Even if I valued that at 12 times revenue, that's 20 billion, and that would only add about $100 a share to my valuation. So sure, maybe it's worth 850. Even if I go to Plug and give them 12 times revenue, okay, that adds $100 a share to the valuation, but I don't know if that seems aggressive to me anyways, because Plug seems a little overvalued. But does that seem fair? They do hydrogen, but it's just I'm more saying as a comparable company, not that it's the same company. I'm saying how much multiple on revenue if we're going to be extremely aggressive? Do we give it $100? Like if they say we agree it's overvalued, but it's more than just cars, like how much value are you giving their other businesses? And to me, it seems Tesla's, there may be more than just cars, but the bigger part than cars, since I already included autonomous, would be their battery pack and storage business. And I don't know how much more value I would give that. I don't think I could conceivably give it more than 20 billion. What about you?
Yeah, it's hard to see right now because like the battery business depends on the car business a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah, if they're not making enough batteries, then there's no point of investing into the battery business. So they need to have excess batteries, and the excess batteries go towards the storage. So I think they've started doing that lately. We haven't seen a gigantic boost in energy, but it could grow faster than cars over time.
So Tesla said in 2020 it would grow at 50%, their megawatts deployed or something like that.
Yeah.
But then the cost of the batteries,
it's coming off a small base. So you can choose to ignore it if you think that cars will, eclipse it completely.
Yeah, so I thought like I was already valuing cars. Energy could be somewhat of a slice, but I think, okay, guys, if you really want to be aggressive, add $100 if you wanted to take the most optimistic. This guy said this sort of the same thing. I don't like your analysis since you completely ignored the energy business. And he said self-driving. I already said that was alluded to. And I just said right now, if you want to do the energy business and give it, the Elon multiple, the premium multiple, give it 20 billion.
Yeah, I have one comment about his Wright's Law thing, actually, because he says you can completely ignore that costs decline over time, which is true. I mean, it's true that the costs decline, but like at the same time, Tesla's not going to sell, we talked about this when you made the video, they're not going to sell 10 million cars at $60,000 a car or $50,000 a car. You need to bring down the price of the vehicle. So I think they're going to bring down the price as long as they can keep their margins up, to reasonable amounts. And so you're only going to sell 10 million cars if you're selling a mix of, $20,000 cars and above. You're not going to sell 10 million, $60,000 cars.
Yeah. And he said it would double. And I said, sure, I could just change my analysis to double to get to 9% margin. So I went through after his comment. I went further back on Toyota's margins, and I guess Toyota is sort of the premier auto company, and their margins, the best they've ever done is 10%, and they sort of average around 7%. So I'm already giving Tesla better margins than Toyota has had, the premier company. And like, sure, Tesla can be all things to everyone, but I think it's fair to, when you're forecasting 10 years out, to say Tesla will be the best, but do we have to give them also the premium margin at the top Toyota's ever had? Like, I think, again, that seems a little aggressive when you're valuing a company that you're going to say, not only am I going to give them the best margins of the best car company, I'm also going to give them a premium on top of that. Like, that seems to me, it could happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm saying when you're projecting the future, it doesn't seem to be, if you're trying to project like not too optimistic, not too negative, it seems to me to say, let's just say they're going to become the best car company margins. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Okay. So that's my rationale for that. I hate when they make a projection for the EV market. Okay. We already answered that one. Tesla is, let me see, too many commercials. No.
Cut that out.
Yeah. Okay. EVs, wait, Tesla producing 10 million cars in 2030. That's insanely conservative. So we already sort of calculated that Tesla ramping up requires a lot of investment. You can't just get there. In 2030, any manufacturer making ICE cars or boutique as an auto company, trash. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Very nicely done. Agreed. Okay, this guy, I saw this guy was a public subscriber and now he's no longer. So I guess he unsubscribed from
Well, sometimes they're just private subscribers.
No, but he was public when I answered the question, but now it's not. It doesn't show up. So I guess we lost. I guess we lost Fred. But he says you should be honest if you did your analysis. So he just says, did your discounted analysis include other income, FSD, HVAC? Okay. So,
yeah, but all this stuff is made up. Like what's offsets? What are HVAC is not a real product.
Yeah. So he says just energy alone will eclipse cars. And I said, we were transparent because the sheet's available to download. And I said, it's great that Elon said all of these things. And I was going to say, like, he also said the Hyperloop would be a better idea. But like, I don't want to trash Elon because Elon's great. But the Hyperloop may be available at some time. But like, I mean, how many premiums and how many things can I value from Elon that don't yet exist? It's
everything he says is like another $100 billion.
Yeah, it's like, sure, if Tesla has all these things, let me give it. But I can only give so many things that don't exist, right? Like I'm giving them 35% a year in their auto sales. And I said, sure, if you want to value the energy business. And I think I was transparent because I replied, give the sheet. So
But I think that's one miscommunication, or maybe that's not the right word, but like a lot of people I'm seeing on YouTube are just speculating on all these different products that Elon has, slightly alluded to. Like, he says the word van, and then everyone's like, oh, he's making a van now. So like, it's not true. And you might not see that. Like, I think one of the nice things about Tesla is that they say no to a lot of things, no to a lot of projects. And they're going to wait at least until they grow a little bit bigger before they start making these cars. And I don't think you're going to have like 100 different types of cars by 2030 for coming from Tesla.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll just do the last comment now. So not sure you're correct about Tesla being overvalued. You've fallen into the trap that Tesla is more than an automotive company. So I think we already addressed it. It's like, sure, maybe they're an energy business. We definitely put a premium already in for their autonomous driving. So I had already considered that. I didn't necessarily spell it out in the video because, people get bored quickly. So you don't want to spend so much time spelling out all your assumptions, but sort of, I put it in a note in the statement, but I think like, it's a little like, I know Tesla's sort of can be all things to everyone, but I think it's a little unfair to say they're still not an automotive company at this point in time. Like sure, they do more things than just automotive, but so do most car companies. I know they could be all things to everyone, but I think most people would say they're an automotive company right now. I don't understand. What would you call them?
Yeah. I mean, I've had this debate, does it matter?
It doesn't really matter. They're a great company that I thought would have a lot of big revenue growth, and it might be coming from their great tech innovations. But at the end of the day, their main product revenue source is going to be through cars for a while. So I don't understand how I don't call them an automotive company. Sorry. Anyways, so that's it.
Is Apple a phone company? Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, is Apple a phone company? People say it's a software company, whatever. Like Apple's a chip maker, right? So
they're making a lot of money.
all Apple's amazing innovations go into their phone. And you could say, hey, they're a chip company. That's why you use their phones. But I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The fact is I projected them, they would grow 35% of their sales. And their main conduit is going to be through their auto.
The nice thing is, I think the nice thing is that you can look at the spreadsheet that you provided on our Patreon. It's free. Patreon.com/themarketisopen, and people can modify it. They can change the numbers to the way they want and use your same models or whatever, and do their own projections. So I think that's what's cool about it.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing, I guess, CMHC insured in Canada, they must be 20% down. So I don't know where this guy John C is from. I mean, I'm from Canada, so I didn't. I had looked it up before just to be sure, but
it's the less than 20%.
Yeah, he said. He says they must be greater than 20% down payment. Less than that is considered risky and not insured by the government of Canada. It's
other way around.
Yeah, it's literally. So we downvoted his comment, and it's literally the opposite. And I sent 2 sources, and John hasn't replied. So that was it for the comments that we found too interesting. Oh, actually, this is the last one. This video is pretty much about desperately trying to discredit Steve Eisman. So I don't know if that's true. I sent Steve Eisman an email before making the video, and I was hoping he would respond and sort of like do the video with me. And I was a little bummed that he didn't. But I don't know if I went out of my way to discredit Eisman. I actually glossed over information that seemed to be negative to Eisman during my video because I didn't want to be negative on him. And sort of the narrative didn't make sense to bring people to my video to call him a legend and then trash him the whole time. I think I wanted to put his clips in the video. But then when he was in the video, I didn't like any of the stocks that were public. I think I like his other stocks. He owns Salesforce, but he's not public about it. So I like Salesforce. Sorry, I didn't get to talk about it. So I don't think it was to discredit him. I just didn't like the 5 stocks that he's been public about. And I think it's pretty silly of him to short Tesla. So whether I wasn't discrediting him, I was discrediting that stock position. So that was the final negative comment. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.